to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
So you've been a country music fan for a long time.
Yep.
What's your assessment of where that genre is now and where it's going?
Like I said before, like just because I don't love something doesn't mean there's not a place for it. There's some stuff that I just like, I don't get. It's over my, like, I wouldn't say it's over my head, but like, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine. Like, there's a place for all of it. Like, I wouldn't say there's a divide necessarily because there's always going to be all sorts of different stuff on country. And I think even listening back in the day, there, like, especially in the 80s, there's all sorts of stuff coming out with saxophone and full band kind of production that was kind of the weird 80s country that was still popular, and stuff that was still more like outlaw country, like Waylon and all that stuff.
Yep.
So I think it's just like everything else. There's a broad world of country music. And I think what I've noticed, like myself and a lot of other artists coming out, there's like a little bit of this split where people are doing stuff that's a little more traditional, like what they grew up on.
Yeah.
And then there's another split that's a little more pop, like stuff that's, you know, experimental and coming out. And so there's a place for all of it, because you'll see fans that, like, they're like, oh, I love Sam Hunt, and then like, oh, I love Jason Isbell. Like, there's the two very opposite ends of country music, and there's fans across all of it.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting world. It's cool. There's a lot of kind of openness to it, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's one of the great things about being in Nashville is this is the city where it all happens. I mean, our pastor at Emmanuel years ago, when he was doing, I think, his PhD studies in Scotland, Saturday night, turn on the radio, Grand Ole Opry, like all across the world, you know, basically all across the world. And that was coming out of Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah. Like, this is the epicenter for that genre of music.
And I think too, with country, even stuff that, like, on the popular side, it's still just songs about life and whatever form of life you're in. Like, if you're a kind of teenage kid out drinking at bars and hitting on girls, like, there's songs for you. If you're like going through a divorce, there's songs for you. If you're like having a kid and your life's great, there's songs for you. And I think the story of it, the life lessons, just the easy kind of speaking way that country music does, it appeals to a lot of people. And a lot of people who aren't necessarily like full-on hardcore country fans still love a lot of country stuff.
Yeah, you're right about that. Internationally, too. I mean, there's people around the world that love country music.
It speaks to people. And I think it's a similar thing to like what I was saying about like Brad's lyrics and stuff. Just speaks to people.
Right.
And sticks around because people identify with it.
Yep. Is that an issue for the other band members, Three Doors, when you're out kind of doing your own music, or are those guys all doing it too, and it's just what people do, and it's no big deal as long as it doesn't detract from the band?
Yeah, I'm very conscious of keeping them separate, especially like when I'm around everybody. It's like Three Doors World. It's a professional thing to me. I'm not like, oh, hey guys, guess what I'm doing? Keep it very professional. And everybody's always been cool with it. Everybody, Greg writes his own stuff. Brad just put out a song on his own.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think everybody.
It's very common.
Yeah, it's common. I think sometimes you'll run into some stuff with you know, the main folks that have a little different ego than the rest of the guys, and I think in a different situation it would be something if I was with somebody that was a total asshole or something. You could see him being like, "Hey man, like, I'm the star of the show. Quit getting out there doing stuff." But just never happens with this band. I think everybody's got their own stuff. Nobody's trying to hold anybody back. I think like you'd have to like really actively be trying to stop somebody from doing some shit for your own personal reasons to tell them not to go make music.
Yeah, because it doesn't detract from the Three Door stuff.
Yeah,
so it's like,
why? I think too, like it's a separate genre completely. So I'm not out like trying to go front an active rock band.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, like, so it's just me playing guitar and singing my songs, and it's country.
Yes.
And I think that kind of helps keep that separation as well.
Sure.
But I do have like our fans that I've earned through my career in Three Doors love what I'm putting out. By the grace of God, they love it. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fans carry over from that, which is really cool. Huge blessing.
Which is fascinating because they're just completely separate types of music. Yeah. But you established a fan base in one that's now they're coming because it's you that's doing these other songs, right? Yeah. And it happens to be country, but they're okay with that because they're after your music.
Yeah. And like I said at the very beginning of this conversation, like just the best fans I've ever seen attached to a group. So they're very supportive of what I'm doing on my own and then also with the band. So
okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
Do people notice you on the street ever?
It's happened a couple times.
Okay. Now, obviously, if the whole band was together and would walk through Nashville, that's a different story entirely. But when the
somebody
guys
might recognize us, I don't know. They might just think we're here like on bachelor getaway going to Broadway or something.
Yeah, yeah.
The band's been like, if you tell people, yeah, I'm in Three Doors Down, like, oh shit, yeah, I know all your songs, but like I sat at a restaurant for an hour and they'd never.
Yeah, really, I mean, heck, I worked out alongside you for a while. I never knew you were bass player for Three Doors Down.
We're oddly very humble people. So
yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Walk around wearing it on my sleeve or anything.
Yeah, yeah.